What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode with
The Modern Framily.
This is a all dudes episode. If you're not watching, you're looking at 6 guys right now. If you are, I thought we'd just do quick introductions. This is going to be the second episode of the season. We're recording obviously a little early, but I'll just start. I'm JD. Let's do our name. Let's do how many kids we currently have. And so I'm JD. I have 2 kids, daughter Ellery. She's almost 2 in July. And then our son Lennox is going to be here with us in 24 days, around there. The due date's 24 days from now. So I got 2. Let's go this way.
All right. My name's Russell Haney. I have 3 kids. Got Worth. He's my oldest. He's 8. And then Hayes is 6, my daughter. And then my youngest is Rove. He's 3. And he's a blast. They're all great. A lot of fun.
I'm Connor McAtee. I have 2 kids. Hayden is 4, recently 4. Carson is 2, and we have 1 on the way. I would like to poll the audience on name choices as well.
Nice.
It's a girl on the way. We're deciding between Ellie, Scotty, or Elliot. So
Okay.
Ellie, Scotty, or Elliot.
Are you asking right now?
No.
Yeah, what
Let's
do we
pull the
do?
chat. Pull the chat.
Go to the chat. Hit the comments.
Yeah, I feel like Scotty's the obvious choice, but it's our favorite for sure.
Love it.
My name is Jaxon Shipley. I have 2 kids. Got Stone and Steiner. Stone is in 3rd grade or finishing up 3rd grade. He's 9. Steiner's 6, so he's finishing up kindergarten. And then we've got a little girl on the way. She'll be here, supposed to be first week of September. It will probably be toward the end of August.
Definitely.
So right when the weather's perfect for giving delivery.
Honestly, I keep forgetting you're about to have a kid. It's crazy.
We've been out of the game for a little while.
Can we go ahead and do a poll on yours, even though you already know it? I'm just kidding.
That might cause some issues. That might cause some issues.
Problems.
Sure.
I'm Aaron Thomas. I have 3 kids. Charlie, who's 5, a son, and then Millie, who's 3.5. And then we have Shiloh, who just turned 1. So quite the busy squad. We're still kind of tossing around. Do we want to have another or not? And it changes on a daily basis.
Wow.
So we had like sick kids last week, and we are like, definitely not having another one.
Fresh off the press.
Yeah, being unsure usually means yes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. My name is Britt Robertshaw, and I have 4 kids. Charlotte is 5, Olivia is 4, Shep is 2, and then Birdie is about 3 months.
Wow.
Out of everyone, that's a lot of kids right there.
That's a lot of kids.
It's also 5 and below is crazy. 4 kids, 5 and below. I wanted to start there because this episode is releasing the week leading up to Father's Day. And so just wanted to kind of go ahead and just let everyone know we're all dads. We all are growing fathers and learning what it means to be dads. So this episode is going to be all about what it means to be a dad in today's world, how to be a good dad, and hopefully anyone listening, you can send this to dads in your life, people who want to be dads, aspiring fathers, your husbands, or even just as wives. I think just continuing to grow as mothers and fathers and help each other beneficially is so helpful. And so before we get to that, I thought we would just have a little bit of fun discussion, a little debate on a few things. Like I asked ChatGPT, I just said, hey, I'm about to sit with 6 young dads and we're about to have a podcast about fatherhood. What are some dad controversial debates that we could kick off with just to kind of get our feet wet on the pod? And so I thought right here we would just
I like where this is headed.
duke out some dad debates and give your varying views. We can just spend a little bit of time on each of them and keep them moving along. So the first one is, does anyone grill here? Anyone big grillers? I haven't gotten to grilling yet. I think it's on the horizon.
Boy,
Jaxon
on that.
Okay.
Jackson's the griller.
I'm an aspiring grillist.
Okay, nice.
I grill some.
So
I'm a rookie. Yeah.
More of a smoker.
Yeah.
the question is, what makes a real barbecue dad? Gas grilling or charcoal?
That's not a
It's
question.
not even remotely a question.
Charcoal.
Okay.
Actually, pellet grill, if you're really wanting to level
That's
up.
where the controversy is. Is it?
Cheating though.
Look, propane,
Hmm?
yes, it's easy. but you
That's what I
have a
was about to
slight
say.
flavor of propane.
Yeah, but we're talking as young dads.
I know.
Gas
if we're
grill, clearly not better,
not better.
but more accessible.
But pellet grill, then you get now the ease of use. You pour in the pellets, super easy. Okay, you turn it on. The only downside whatsoever, can we get a good sear on that steak?
Yeah,
That's the only. That's the only thing.
Tough to get a good sear, but you have the flexibility. If you want to be aspiring grillist or a smoker, you can smoke it. A gas grill, you're not going to be able to smoke. You can do you can smoke it. You can grill burgers quickly on it. So I'm a pellet grill kind of guy.
I personally like the taste of anything made over charcoal more, but I also feel like I'm intimidated by it. I'll say that. I feel like I'm a little intimidated by charcoal.
The pellet is like a crutch for sure. It makes it a lot easier. So start there and then maybe like start getting confident and work your way into it.
All right. So are y'all saying that anyone who uses a gas grill isn't a true barbecue dad?
Fraud.
Definitive.
Hey, but I do have to say something else, not to get too much of a spinoff. I've been a big griller for a long time, since I was in college. Left the house, went to college on my own, realized like, okay, I got to start cooking for myself. I realized I tried to cook some steak in a skillet. Not good. Not what I was used to. So then I started trying with the propane. Pretty good. Then I tried charcoal. A lot better. Didn't have time for it. Went back to propane again. Now as I'm married, have kids and all that, being able to get something done in a quick amount of time is important. However, I'm going to shift us here because I switched to the Wok.
The Wok.
An outdoor wok burner. That thing's a dang jet engine. And I have tested charcoal versus wok seared, and there is no difference because you get the smoky, what they call wok hay flavor from the smoke in the wok.
That sounds so good.
Hang on.
And it's so easy. I turn that sucker on, flame it. I could be in and out in 5 minutes.
I would say there is a difference, and you have some scars to prove it.
Yeah. I'm saying, hey, taste
Get the right attire.
Taste-wise.
PPE.
And you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait 20 minutes to get your charcoal going.
So if someone was going to take your advice on that, what brand should they get in a wok? What's their first wok they should get?
Oh, you just go into your local Asian store, and it don't matter.
Oh,
I don't even know if they have brands.
It's pretty low barrier to entry cost-wise for sure. As well.
Okay.
$20. You can go into your local.
Really?
Like, yes, you can go in, you go to the back. They got them everywhere. You go back there, you just find one that looks decent. They're going to be no more than $30.
Okay. Good to know. All right. Moving on to the next one. Is it ever okay to let your child win in a game or sport against you?
How old are they?
Well, that's part of your answer.
Definitely depends.
Okay, go.
I think there's an evolution of that. Like, I think, like, my son just started picking up baseball over the last 6 months. And, like, early on, I wanted him to, like, get the taste of winning. And then as he started getting a feel for, like, the game, then I started going a little harder on him and letting him know that sometimes you don't win. So I started testing him into, like, sometimes you don't win and we got to learn how to lose well and learn how to still be competitive and try to win because you've kind of tasted how good winning feels. So I think there's an evolution. I think as he gets older, I'm going to start taking it like harder and harder on him until he can beat me for real. But we're not there yet. But I will lean in the next like 5-10 years. I'm going to lean pretty hard and like not.
I want to ask Jaxon again because I feel like both of you actually, Worth for you, and then both of your boys, I would say, are at an age where they could start talking some smack and really kind of like doing good at some stuff. Do you let Worth or your two boys ever win?
I'll let you go first.
Yeah, here's my philosophy on this. I will give Worth a handicap. So say we're shooting hoops, I let him shoot from closer. Or if we're playing golf, like he's hitting from further up, and then I try. Because I know that he's aware enough to know if I'm not trying hard, and he's like me. He doesn't want to win by me not trying. And so I'm not going to give it to him. I'm going to try hard, but I also want to make it fair. So I'll give him a starting point that makes sense.
Does this all translate to even things like Mario Kart? You're like racing the controllers. Are you letting them beat you in Mario Kart?
I'm no mercy in Mario Kart.
I can assure you, I never let Stone beat me in a video.
Right?
Yeah, video games is a different deal. This is kind of the evolution for us. I agree with Aaron. I think at first when they're kids, you're not going to destroy them. And they're like, I hate this crap.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to do good and win and all that kind of stuff. Then as they get a little older, it's like, all right, you introduce the idea of competition, real competition. And now they have to kind of dig inside themselves and be like, all right, I'm facing someone else. They're learning how to compete, but you keep it light. The difference in, I guess, my family is I've got 2 boys that are close enough in age, 9 and 6, that are like ultra competitive, that they go head to head nonstop. So I did that deal with my oldest that's now 9 for a while. It was like, all right, me versus him, but I take it light on him. But Steiner, my youngest one, by the time he started playing, my oldest one was right in there with him already playing. So from the time that he was old enough to like play whatever the sport is, both of them were at each other's throat. So it's kind of like at a certain point, it's like, there's no more pretending. It's just straight cutthroat competition in the backyard. And my youngest one is a savage. So he's coming at him all the time. My oldest one doesn't want to get embarrassed by the youngest one, but the youngest one's pretty freaking good. So there's a whole dynamic too of neither one of them want dad to say that the other one's doing better. And like we can hardly ever play. I can't keep score anymore because if I keep score, somebody is ticked at the end when I announce who the winner is.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
It's so interesting hearing y'all have, I didn't expect y'all to have such like philosophical answers because I feel like our generation, our dads, I don't know, maybe this is just because I was too young and he did do this, but I can't remember a time where he let me win. I feel like it was just like, no.
I have a quick story from like a week ago. Russell and I went to play golf with Worth. And I think that there's like a difference between like letting your kid win and then like actually beating you at something. Like the joy level is like 10x. We were on a hole and Russell almost drove the green. It was like a shorter par 4, almost drove the green, duffed his chip. Worth comes behind him. So we like Russell said, we shortened the hole from him. He drove the green from like 200 yards because I rolled down this hill and he drained his putt for a 2. And Russell duffed his chip, duffed it again, and then making like a 5 or a 6. And I was like,
terrible.
I was like, Worth, you just beat your dad by like 4 strokes on that hole. It was epic.
It was awesome.
And so his joy level was like exponential.
Yeah.
Because it was like an actual victory.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he earned it. And I loved watching it. It was great. I mean, I hated doing what I did, but I loved watching it.
Everyone needs to know that he's basically a scratch golfer.
Yeah,
so it's not like he just beat some scrub like Russell can play.
I feel like you get some like passionate answers on this though, is because we're kind of coming off of that in between like our dad's generation and this one where there was like a heightened sense of the participation trophy stuff. And so now I feel like it maybe is more of like on top of our brains, like we're thinking about that stuff as we're raising our kids.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's good. All right, last one. This one's about dad's fashion. All right, so two points of fashion. The first one, cargo shorts. Are they functional? Is there ever an age where you think you might wear them? Or are they like, absolutely not, no one should ever be wearing cargo shorts, especially even dads?
I don't want to offend anybody, so no offense to anybody. This is not no
it's
judgment.
Okay, it's a debate. It's
No judgment on anybody that loves them, but I haven't worn cargo shorts since middle school. So.
But do you think there could be a day where you're like 50 years old and you're like, man, I'm just looking for easy, and this I can do something with these things.
I can use some deep pockets out my
like, you're not wearing skinny jeans, hopefully at 55.
Maybe a better question is,
maybe
a better question is, will they come back in style?
Baggy is kind of back in,
but
like how old also are we like?
Hey, let's just cut to the chase. Like,
no,
they're gone.
Yeah, cargo shorts are gone.
I was going to say not while I'm still married to Brogan.
This is coming. There's just a straight up hard no. There's never a world where you will ever be wearing cargo shorts in your dadhood.
Never.
I don't see it
either.
I just feel like
okay, let's keep this in archives.
The way the material has evolved, like. The only time I would use cargo pants would be to like carpentry work or something around the house, but they're so hot that it doesn't they don't outweigh like the functionality.
So they're really not functional.
Get you a tool bag.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you can add a tool belt to you and wear what you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Just give me some Burley Bow and I'm good.
Yeah. Burley Bow shorts.
Let's go.
This episode.
This is actually Burley Bow. Burley Bow shorts and clip on a tool belt or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're comfortable, and then you've got whatever you need.
Yeah. Okay. Flip-flops. I feel like I was first introduced to flip-flops because of my dad. I feel like that was definitely like flip-flops were a thing, like from my childhood, my dad. And now I feel like flip-flops, I feel like for a while it was like, dude, why are you letting the dogs out? That's what people like, they make fun of you if you have flip-flops on, especially the younger generation. But I'm also kind of seeing, like, I've been seeing them more recently. I personally think flip-flops with jeans, I used to do that.
Whoa.
And they should never, ever return.
Wow, that's a choice.
Wow.
But it was like a thing in like the Christian worship world. It really was. It was weird. But flip-flops, even with shorts, swimsuits, like, do you think flip-flops are in, on the comeback, or out completely?
I think they're situational. I think like if you're at the beach, like throw some flip-flops on with your shorts, 100%. But if you're at the pool, or at the pool too, I would say they're fine. But like jeans with flip-flops ain't the move. Unless you're like Jack Johnson, and you can just pull, like that's your aura and you can just pull that off. But I love Jack Johnson. Yeah. But like, I think that's situational when you should be wearing.
Okay.
I feel like
what about just as like fashion? Like
my
you're going to Walmart or Chick-fil-A.
My take is that the shoes have, like Chacos, for example, like there are certain Chacos that look cool that have like their back strapless and they're functional. And so I feel like there's never, like for me, there's never going to be a time where flip-flops comes back in, because the technology of shoe has just improved so much that like I feel like Jaxon has some cool, like waterproof, like slide type shoes that you can wear at the beach that you don't ruin the middle, that toe between the big one and the next one.
I got a
So let me just do this. Jaxon, are you wearing flip-flops?
Absolutely. Here's
why.
why.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, can we define it? Does that include slides?
Let me say this.
Not slides.
No,
the one that it splits the big toe.
Yeah.
Did they have? How long have we been wearing flip-flops? Since Jesus' time or before, probably. Right?
Oh, he's going back to the Bible.
Okay. Sandals.
That's different.
That's what I meant. Sandals.
Did
we say flip-flops?
Flip-flops. Like the one that like if people wear them enough, they start to actually get the gap between the toes.
Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I'm in on those.
You're in.
If the material between your toes is comfortable.
Okay.
But if it is,
are you more of like a leather or like a fabric one?
Like probably leather, but it's got to be a little bit worn in.
One?
Yeah, American Eagle. Where if you warm it, kind of got that like little curve, like the leather curve.
It can't be the plastic ones that go.
It's got to be leather, but it's also like, to me, it's just about how easy they are. Like I walk up, I slide my foot in, we're out the door immediately.
See, but that's where I just disagree, because it's like then I'm just gonna choose like slides,
a better version.
Yeah, or
okay, but what about breathability? Like when I put my foot in like the cane shoes, have y'all seen those that are like they cover your whole foot, but they're waterproof? They got holes in them. It's cool, but my feet are sweating so much and I can't air them out because I don't want to lift them up out of the deal.
I just can't handle, like, if I go to Chick-fil-A and I'm eating my Chick-fil-A and I look over and I see someone staring at my toes and my feet hair, I would feel so conscious. I'm like,
that's why you wear it situationally.
I just feel like, but that's what I'm saying. But I'm asking if you could wear it.
Did you just say feet hair?
Yeah, like the hair on my feet. So like I'm saying, he said he would wear them. Like flip-flops are
for
like,
sure.
You would wear to Chick-fil-A.
I'm not proud of my feet, so that's not like my feet don't look great. That's probably why you don't want to wear them.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, like, just in terms of if I got khaki shorts on or any kind of shorts like that, like I wear them to church sometimes, and I don't know what y'all think.
I take.
He's really taking it back. The Bible.
But hey, when it hits 100 degrees here, I'm shorts, like khaki shorts. I can wear my flip flops. I got my shirt just like this.
Mm-hmm. Balling.
And that big toe is barking.
Yeah. I got one just seeing the dogs.
Those dogs are out.
Yeah. All right. That's good. Well, that's a great little, that was good. I feel good now. I feel more comfortable. All right. Well, let's get into talking about fatherhood. Like I said, with it being Father's Day, all the things. The first thing I wanted to talk about was in being fathers. And if a dad is listening right now, what are the ways that you have seen your own father impact your current fatherhood, whether that's positive or negative? What are some of the things that the way that your father fathered you has carried over, maybe even into your current how you father? Or some of the things that you're like, man, these are the things that I have learned from, and I necessarily am trying to change course with my own parenting.
I think for me, it's like just a present moment thing that's happening. And it speaks to like my childhood was just being present. Like my dad was there for everything. And today, two of my daughters have dance recitals, and it's at 2 different times, spread out throughout the day, really inconvenient, but it wasn't even a question. Like I know he's going to be there. My mom and my dad are going to be there. And I think that is something that I've like noticed with my kids. Like it's like whatever time it is, wherever it's at, like there's going to be the effort to like be there. And I'm just like seeing how I didn't think about it whenever I was younger. I kind of took it for granted, but now being a dad, I'm seeing like how much I appreciated like all the time and all the effort and the money and whatever it was that was sacrificed to be there for that. Just the presence of that, knowing that they cared and loved me. So that was something that is huge for me.
That's good. So presence, like being physically at an event or in their lives, eye to eye, that kind of stuff. That's good.
A practical one for me is just being available around the house and like accomplishing tasks around the house. Like I feel like there are certain households where there are roles within the household and that's fine. But my dad, because my mom worked usually late till like 7 or so, like he was picking us up from school. He was making dinner. He was providing breakfast. Like he was, always cleaning the house, doing laundry. And I feel like I've taken that into my marriage. And I know Brooke, my wife, appreciates that it's not like the whole weight of tasks around the house are on her shoulders. And maybe that's like a generational thing, but I think my dad did a really good job of that. And it's been easy for me to transition into that type of fatherhood. It's practical. That's definitely what my dad was really good at, was that servant leadership in that way.
Like acts of service.
Yeah, exactly.
All that kind of stuff, yeah.
I mean, my dad I would say it's very similar to Britt. Like my experience with my dad was that he coached every team I was on, and he took me to do all of his favorite things, and he sacrificed different jobs and things like that. Even up to when I was in college, he was sacrificing jobs so that he could come to my games in college. And so my dad always made it a point to Britt's, the similarity with Britt's dad is that he was always there, always present, always pushing me, encouraging me. And I would say the other thing is I feel like he was just always very even keeled. Like my dad wasn't super emotional. He never I really don't recall a time that he ever got mad at me to the point that he would raise his voice or treated me a certain way based on something I did. He was always very patient and very even keeled. And I appreciated that a lot because that's a struggle. And I think for me with my kids and the stage that we're in, it can get frustrating sometimes when somebody's not listening or it's chaotic. And I find myself battling that emotion of I'm getting mad and now I'm going to raise my voice or whatever it is. And so I think that sits with me that my dad was just so present with me and he knew me very well. And he was also very even keeled and not overly emotional with me, which helped me as I grew up and dealt with things. So
I think for me, my dad was the first generation believer in my family line. And so my dad didn't have a dad. So he never had a modeling of a good dad. So I bet y'all could all resonate with this. It's really crazy as you start to become a dad, how much your empathy and grace grows for your parents. It's almost like you wish you could go back to your younger self and have more of an understanding of what their own baggage they were carrying into parenthood. And you think about it, if we're a product of our parents in a lot of ways. So if our parents did not have good parents, or if they did not have emotionally engaged parents, or everything we are is because of a byproduct. And so when you're a kid, you're not thinking, what are generational wounds of my dad? You're not thinking, how did my grandpa parent my dad? A lot of times it stinks because you think your grandparents hung the moon as a kid, and maybe they had some really negative effects on your parents, and you see them almost as an even more positive light but your parents have a fractured relationship with them. And so for me, I never knew my grandpa, but I do know that he left my dad. And so my dad, my whole childhood, I think, was my dad having to figure out how to be a good dad. And I think that's what I really would say that I respected about him, is even though he was not dealt the right cards and never once had a father figure in his life, he didn't play victim to it. And I would just say for anyone out there that maybe you have maybe found yourself in like a victim mentality towards whatever cards you've been dealt in life, if you're like, well, I was given tough luck because my dad gave me tough luck or whatever, I think anyone has the opportunity to become a good dad, no matter if you're not a dad yet, a young dad, or if you've been a dad for 20 years, you can immediately decide today's the day I change the course. And I start to try to be a healthy father. And so I didn't realize that until I was older, but now I just have such an appreciation. My dad's no longer here, but I have such an appreciation for the ways now I can look back and go, oh, that was him trying to like be emotionally engaging with me, even though that never happened to him before. Like he was literally learning as I was growing up. And that's just really profound to me now as a 31-year-old.
I think the other call out too is like, I wrestle with like, I have to be perfect. Like I don't want to mess my kids up. I don't want to show up in a way that's not honoring. And I think that it has given me a lot more peace in knowing that I'm probably going to mess up from time to time. And there's probably going to be things that one day my son or daughter are like, hey, I wish my dad would have done this or wouldn't have done this. And I think that like, that's the beauty of like having a heavenly father that, you know, we can lean into and like trust and believe is like continuing to sanctify and mold us and shape how we think and how we act. But I think that that's given me a lot of peace of like, I'm going to do the best I can, but I know that I'm not going to be perfect. And I think that over time, like even the things that I may mess up along the way, that my kids are going to understand that I love them deeply and that I was there for them and like try to create an environment that was great for them to grow up in. And one day they'll be able to look back and be like, hey, even though things weren't always perfect, because they weren't perfect with my dad, but even though they weren't, I know my dad loves me so much and was like doing his absolute best, just like you're saying about yours. Yeah. I think that's an important thing to remember as we're like in active parenting, you know, in the stages that we're in too. So
that's a good point, because to me, like, you know, in reflecting this right now, like the goal for me isn't to like make my kid perfect. Like I don't want to, like to Aaron's point, I'm not trying to be a perfect person so that they can be a perfect person. Like I'm going to be a true to myself in raising a child, and you know my personality traits may alter their personality, or you know make certain personality traits shine. But I think to me the goal in parenting is how can I set up my child to have a relationship with their father so that they can like work out with their community, with us at parents, working out the sins that they may struggle with. Because again, like I think the goal for me is to have like a safe place for my kid to be able to reflect on their imperfectness. And again, the goal with life is to have a relationship with God, right? And so how can I do that? Like how can I set up my child to do that?
Yeah. I think we can move on to the next question, but I think it's important for anyone to sit and think, is there anything, well, one, if there's anything positive that my dad did that I am carrying over to now how I'm a father, share that with your dad, because it's Father's Day this week. And I think, you know, even if you're just thinking that encouragement, it goes a long way, I think, just to show that appreciation, and to say, hey, as I'm growing up and I'm becoming a parent, I'm realizing I've learned this value because of you and how you parented me. So, and then the negatives, think, is there anything that I'm doing? Am I having bursts of anger, or am I unable to emotionally connect? And is it maybe because that's a lacking factor in the way I am with my father? And it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to go even tell your dad you did this wrong or whatever, but maybe just go, okay, I'm going to learn from that and try my best to instill that in how I'm a father today. And so My next question I wanted to know was, I think everyone here except for me, I'm about to be in this situation, or Jaxon, you're about to be as well. Let's talk about the difference in fathering daughters versus sons. Because I feel like there is a nuance there, and there is a difference there, and a requirement there that I don't think a lot of people really talk about. And I want to just hear from the people who are walking through that, because I'm about to be in that situation where I only have a daughter, but I'm about to father a son, and I'm already feeling this like, whoa, this is going to be different. I know it. So as I'm watching even y'all's sons, I'm like, wow, that's totally different than a girl. So I'll let y'all talk about it.
Yeah, it's totally different. So again, my oldest, he's a boy, and my middle's a daughter. For my oldest, I am very proactive and very intentional about raising him up to be a leader. And not that girls can't be leaders by any means. I see it very differently though, because with my oldest, with Worth, I don't want him to be this macho man that culture tells us to raise our sons up to be. I want him to be tough. I want him to be a leader. I want him to be strong. And I have him come along with me to do a lot of active things and to see how I would do things. Not that I do things perfectly by any means, but I am very intentional about teaching him that it is good to be strong and good to be a man that is countercultural to our culture, but it's also okay to have emotion, and it's okay to acknowledge that things are hard, and acknowledge that sometimes things are not okay, or also importantly that we're not perfect. Versus with my daughter, I definitely think that I'm more nurturing just by nature. I definitely have a soft spot for her. It's hard not to, and pretty much anything she asks, it is hard to say no. I try to stay strong, but I'll admit she tugs at my heartstrings a little bit. But I do see it differently. I see her role within our family differently, as not the leader that Worth is, my oldest, but someone who is caring, and she has so many qualities just inherently, where she loves other people. She loves babies really well. She loves pets a lot, too much probably. But I try to foster those things a lot more than I would in Worth, and I think that has just come about organically.
But I love that. I think one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because I do think, especially in generations before us, there was almost this, maybe even unspoken, like the dad's tough on the son and soft on the daughter. And because of that has created like men who are unable to identify emotions. And then even then, like that dad, he might be more like spoil the daughter more, but maybe he's still unable to actually emotionally connect with her, because that's not something that he's ever had done with him. So how do you, as everyone else is thinking about their answers, like how do you foster an emotionally healthy man that is different though? There is a different, like you're talking about, than how you would foster all the emotions and all the like the nurturing that's required with your daughters.
I mean, ask me this question in about 15 years. I'll tell you like, what I did right and wrong. Yeah. I think it's hard because they're so early in it. But like the thing for me is my son and daughter are completely different personalities. Like y'all know them both pretty well. And like Millie's spicy and like big personality and like not afraid to like get in front of a room and like charge the room. And Charlie's not that. And so it's interesting because he's the son, and to Russell's point, like I kind of expect more of him naturally, and so I'm a little more firm with him on things. I'm a little, I don't know. I would say more firm with him and let him know that I expect more out of him, but also connecting on the whys. Like, here's why we're this way. Here's why we treat people this way. Here's why we do things this way. And I think for Millie, my daughter, it's like it's almost kind of like we're trying to like help her hone in these emotions and like her big personality, because she's still like very what's the word, spontaneous, sporadic. She does things that you're like, why in the world are you doing that right now, or why are you acting like that? And I actually have to be pretty firm with her as well, But again, I think it's like drawing everything into the why, like why we do things the way that we do them, and helping, like that to me is connecting emotionally, like helping them understand, number one, that I love them, but number two, like this is what I expect of you and here's why, so that it's not just like a list of rules, but it's helping them understand how to live out. I don't know if that answers your question.
That's great. Can I say that, and maybe you can speak to this, maybe all of you can, but let's say you don't get to dictate your kid's personality, right?
Right.
And I think because of unhealthy stigmas, if your son were to come out more emotional, shy, sensitive, whatever, let's put that, and then your daughter is more headstrong, can command a room, whatever, I think a lot of unhealthy parents' tendency would be like, well, I need to like switch these. Like I need to like make him more assertive and dominant and make her more gentle and whatever. And so I mean, speak to that.
That was honestly, that's what I was going to say, is that I feel like I'm figuring it out too, because I have a 4-year-old son who is similar to Aaron's son, and I have a 2-year-old daughter that's similar to his daughter, and I'm fighting that urge. Like I definitely am way harder on Hayden because I know what a man is supposed to be like because I am one, and like I think anytime I see something that I think is a flaw in him or something that, you know, I don't want that to shine, I'm like hard on that thing. And with Carson, to me, so far, it's been really easy to parent her because I've never had a sister. I didn't really I had one girl cousin and we weren't super close. And so I've only ever really known like, you know, boys growing up. And so for Carson, it's like, you keep doing your thing, like, you know, shine on, girl, like you got it figured out. And with Hayden, I'm like all over him because I want him to be a certain way. And I think that's the sin in me coming out. Or maybe it's even my own, like, I want you to be this way because I'm that way kind of thing. So I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Oh, it does. That's good. That's honest. I think it is a challenge that we have this idea of who we think our kids should be. And we're probably projecting our own expectations of like, this is how I thought it would look. Like I'm going to have the super cool kid that everyone's like, I wish my kids were more like you on the like in athletics and whatever. Or I like you said, just like even what it means to be a man, whatever that means. And the moment we see, like, you know, your son's 4 and it's like, if he falls, he's going to cry. Like it's like, if it hurts, he's going to cry. And it's like, that doesn't necessarily mean that in that moment, the right response is like, deal with it, stop crying, or whatever. It's like, and I think that is how some people think with the boys specifically, it needs to be.
Yeah, I think it produces a fear in me too of like, if I continue on this path of like, you know, putting him down with certain things, will I create an unsafe place for him? Like that's something that's a fear in me, is like, I don't want to be so down on him that he's like afraid of me or afraid to come to me. And at times I can see him like look at me that way and like fear, and it like freaks me out because I don't want that relationship with him. And so it's definitely a line of like,
we want strong men.
Being firm with your son and that, but it's also like they're also 4 years old and like,
and also like being open to who they like, being curious about who they are too. Like what is there about their personality that's like so unique and amazing, because every one of them has it. Like one thing for Charlie that he's like, over the years as he's growing, like we're realizing how curious he is and how like he's a very deep thinker and he's thinking a lot. When we lay down in bed at night, he starts asking all these like profound questions. And I'm like, dude, I had no idea you were like even paying attention to that. But like he's aware, and just like if I were closed off or like trying to force feed him down this one path, like those qualities of him wouldn't be able to show up. And I think it's been really good for us to be able to see our kids show up in ways that maybe we weren't expecting, because we're not trying to like force them to be a certain way per se.
I want to ask you, Jaxon. So in a lot of ways, living in the town that you and your brother play football in, and y'all both played at UT, and it can almost seem like there's this, I would say, outside expectation that Stone, your oldest, and Steiner, your youngest son, need to be the next Jordan and Jaxon. And they both are already loving football. I mean, you've posted videos of them catching football since they were I mean, I don't even think they ever won. I don't know. Like all their lives. And it's how do you, and talking about that line of expectation for your kids, people probably, I've seen it in the comments, like future Longhorns and all of that. But then Stone is like an artist and he loves music and he loves to dance and he's getting into cooking with you. And like, there's so much more than just football brothers. How do you encourage them to do it if they love it, but also not make them feel they probably don't feel it a lot right now, but the more they learn and they grow, like how do you feel like you're going to handle that or are handling that expectation?
So I would say the first is my dad was a high school football coach for 34 years. And so the times that I saw my dad were mostly up at the field house. Everything around me was all football all the time. And so my dad being a head football coach, like the natural expectation is that your kids are going to be probably great at sports, or even if they're not great at sports, you're just going to play them because they're your sons. And so he always told my brother and I, like, if you're going to be my son, like, and you're going to be on my team, you better either be really good or really bad, because I don't want to have to make that decision of like, you're kind of good, but you're not better, than whoever else. And then having to look people in the eye and feel like, maybe there's not some truth behind the fact that it's your son and he's playing. So, one of the main things that I've taken from my dad, and we all take things that we love and we appreciate about our fathers, and there's things that we, may change. One of the things that I loved and have always appreciated about my dad, and I recognized from an early age, was that he was very, very aware about and intentional about not wanting to live vicariously through his kids' sports. And so when I was a kid in youth sports, my dad was always there, but he'd never once like coached or like tried to, make me feel like, son, I'm a football coach. Like, I need you to be here. And he never wanted anyone to get the idea that he was trying to live through us because maybe he didn't achieve what he wanted to. And so I've also taken that into my parenting as well. It was one thing before we ever had kids that I was like, I love that approach from a father of like, I want to be there. If you love this, I want to be there for you in it. And if you want to be great, you've got to know that like it takes time and practice to do these things. Like, I'm not going to force you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you want to be good at something, you need to know it does require time. It's like the 10,000 hour rule. Like, it does. And so with my kids, I do believe that as much as we say, like, let's let our kids, just choose the path they want to go on. It's like, that's not really realistic when they're kids. Like, they're going to kind of naturally fall into whatever interest we're interested in at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start to build their own separate interests. And they may deviate from the path that we had them on. Like, maybe for me, it's football. Like, we just love football. We've always loved to watch football. We've always loved to go to the Longhorn games. I did that with my dad as a kid. I've done that with my sons. We've taken trips and gone to places with my nephew, with Worth and Russell. And like, it's just amazing. It's just an awesome experience, a bonding experience. And I realized pretty early that my sons loved football because that's the ball that we had around the house. That's the shape of the ball that we had around the house. Like, what if I would have had a soccer ball?
Yeah.
What if I had a basketball?
Yeah.
Like, I believe that they would have chosen whatever was there naturally because that was what was there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've just tried to be very aware of, I realize there's expectations from other people, but I just don't care about, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks that my kids should be.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not in my house. And like all of us here, I can say like, that's just not the most important thing to me. The most important thing to me is like eternally, their soul, their spirit. Like, I want to foster that above all else.
Yeah.
I'm going to get emotional because it's challenging in the world that we live in now with like youth sports and just sports. Sports is a god and idol to people. And having that background, I have people all the time that are like, dude, hook 'em, your son's going to be this and that. I'm like, maybe not. Who cares? It's fun now to play with them in the backyard. And so everything we do in football is about the relationships that they have with other friends that they've built and just us being there. Sorry. us being there, like I think that's the most important thing is like in the things that my kids have chosen to do, which is right now, they love sports. They love football. Loves to draw and these things, like whatever that is. My goal is just to be there in it with them and just be present in whatever they enjoy. And then when they think about me when they're older, they just think about my dad was there in what I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Whether they go on to do anything in sports, I do not give a flip, truthfully. I just want to be involved and take a genuine interest in things that they're interested in because I just want relationship with them.
That's good. I think to round out this conversation, I think what you said was so important, that we are the influence of our children, and what we surround them with and what we value and what we deem as important and what we make time for is going to impact and mold who they become. And so choose wisely and choose correctly and prioritize it correctly. Because you would say you put a football in their hand, but you're also putting a Bible in their hand. You're putting prayer on their lips. You're taking them to church every week. And there's interest, but then there's also the most important thing, like you said, the most important thing. You could care less about what they do, but who they are and what they're giving their life to is the thing that you are that's what you care about influencing.
Yeah.
And so I just think there's so many dads out there that are putting this pressure on their kids about things that it shouldn't matter. But it will impact their lives. And so what you value, they will value. So we need to wrap up. We could talk for another hour about so many things. We'll do another one of these, but I just wanted to wrap up with going around the table. And if you could encourage a young or new father right now, just from a place of relatability, I know none of us are like, we're not speaking from a place of figuring it out. We're speaking like just mutual encouragement, just a quick encouragement to young fathers as we're going into Father's Day, and then we'll wrap up.
I can start. I would say prioritize time at home after work and do it with, have a plan when you're home. I think early on in parenting, I didn't catch myself like on my phone or continuing to do my own thing, like having a set amount of time every single day to connect. As Christians, we attempt to connect with God every day. And I feel like we can go back and look at the last week was successful, and it's usually based on a connection level with God. And I think it can also be related to us as parents. Like, it doesn't matter how much time I spent with my kid. Like, if I spend 6 hours with my 2 kids and I'm on my phone the whole time, like, that's 6 hours not spent well. But if I spend 30 minutes or an hour of like time with them on the ground, playing with toys, talking with them, that's a connection. And that's way more valuable than the 6 hours. And so it's not so much time as it's seeking that connection every single day. And that's preaching to myself as well.
Yeah, that's good.
The one thing I would say is as men, as fathers, there's a part of who we are that we feel and we should be providers for our family, right? Like, not that we're always the sole provider, but like there's a part of us that is responsible for taking care of our family. And I think as dads and being young, like we're in the thick of trying to make sure that we're working well and doing really good in that. And sometimes that takes like a lot of our focus and attention and everything, to be that and do that, for our family. Mm-hmm. But I think many times and I'm speaking also from like personal experience, many times I find myself having a hard time just being like compartmentalizing that and being able to get home and like turn it off and know that like it's going to be okay if I miss a call at 8 p.m. because I have a family. Mm-hmm. And people will respect the boundaries that you set after a certain amount of time in the day, because everyone respects a father that's present. Mm-hmm. People need things, but if it's at a certain time of day, you have to set boundaries with yourself and with other people so that you can prioritize your family like they need. They need you to be there.
That's good.
I think speaking from personal experience, and I know that it's critical for everyone, is surrounding yourself with like-minded men and people that you respect and look up to and want, like, you would be proud if your sons were growing up to be men like them. And same with your daughters too, surrounding them with other friends and families that push them and help them grow. Iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. It is just so true, and it has changed our family's life. And if I'm not going to be around, and I want my kids to be around another family, it's someone that I know like is going to love them and respect them and take care of them, but also push them and hold them accountable whenever we're not around. And that goes for myself too. Like, they can see you, and you have that relationship with them like daily. And there's a lot of tough things going on in the world, and to have those men around you to just be there for you is something that you've got to have. It's not just like a convenient thing or like suggested. Like, to get better and to grow and to be the best dad you can, I think that is a must.
It's so good.
Yeah, I would say just being able to acknowledge when you're wrong and doing that vulnerably to your children, I think, is important. The last thing I want to do is raise my kids in a house that is because I said so, or that's the way it has to be, and pretending like everything I do is the right way and the only way. I want my kids to be aware and able to challenge respectfully. Like, I don't want them to be on their own course and not doing things out of respect. Like, there's a proper way to do it. But I think being able to explain to them, hey, this is how I want you to do things, and here's why, kind of like you mentioned earlier, Aaron. I think doing that, and also if I make mistakes or if I respond out of anger, out of frustration, which happens because I'm sinful too, being able to acknowledge to them, hey, I did that and I'm sorry. Like, I shouldn't have done it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I responded poorly. This is what I was dealing with. No excuse. I shouldn't have done that. And this is what happened. And just being able to own that to them and setting them up to see, not only am I not perfect, but they can acknowledge their own wrongdoing as well.
That's good.
And being able to own that.
Love that.
I would just briefly say, like, there's going to be a lot of days that are imperfect and a lot of days that are great. It's going to be hard days. There's going to be easy days. Like, I do my best to give my kids grace. So I would encourage a father, like, give your kids grace in the hard times and the hard days, because we had some very hard days and still do. And also, like, give your spouse grace, give yourself grace. Like, we're giving grace by our Father on a daily basis, and we're imperfect on a daily basis. And so being able to, like, let that flow through us as fathers into our spouses and our kids and to ourselves, and when it's hard, is, I think, really important. Otherwise, it's really easy to want to just check out if you can't, or get mad at everybody around you, and that doesn't foster a household that's going to be, have a lot of joy. And then I would also just say the presence piece, like y'all said, that's the first thing that came to mind, is like, be present. Like, put the phone away, put the distractions away, put the work away, and like, be intentional, because we can be like physically there, but if we're not mentally there, our kids are going to know that, and our spouse is going to know that. So
that's good. I agree with everything y'all said. So the one, get yourself right. If you're a dad right now and you have anything hidden in your life that needs to be addressed, if you do have unhealthy things from your own father, like if you have bitterness towards your dad or unforgiveness towards your dad, if you aren't a man of faith, a man of God, and you aren't leading your family spiritually because your own spiritual apathy, and maybe you used to go to church and it's something maybe recently you just haven't taken as serious, or the busyness of sports and life and work, get it right. Like, get yourself right with God. Be the man that we're called to be, because until you are right, it's always going to feel like something's just missing in your household. And what you may not realize is it's unintentionally your own issues that's affecting everything. And so until we're whole, we're never going to be able to give ourselves fully to those that we influence and lead and parent. And so that would be mine, is focus on your own healing, growth, and just your faith, and walk with God, so that way you can influence and fill others in your family up properly. So, love you guys. Happy Father's Day to everyone listening. Happy Father's Day to y'all. I am so thankful, like you said, Britt, that y'all are the men that I get to be inspired by and father next to. It has radically changed my life. And if you are listening and don't know this, the Modern Family is actually there's a lot more dads in the Modern Family that you're going to get to meet and be introduced to throughout the season and on our social media and all of that. And we actually recorded a YouTube video with all of the dads in the modern, or all the guys in the Modern Family. And so that's going to be
exception of a few.
Yeah. In this season, and that video will be released later on in this week on our YouTube channel. And so be on the lookout for that. All of this information we share constantly on our Instagram, which is at The Modern Family. And like I said, happy Father's Day. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.